All right, guys. So let's jump into the model sentences from stage 11 of Cambridge Latin. So remember that the main focus of what we're going to be talking about in terms of the grammar is going to be intransitive verbs plus datives that are going to be translated as their objects. Remember that they're not functioning in the Latin as their objects. They're actually acting as dative of interest or advantage with certain intransitive verbs. But it's easier just to remember, at least to this level, that it's the verbs take dative objects. The easiest way to remember it for now. So let's jump into the first sentence, which is an ordinary sentence that we can easily translate with a transitive verb, and it is cives in foro candidatos spectat. So cives is a third declension noun. It's a nominative plural, and it does from civis. It means citizens. So the citizens in forum, ablative of location, prepositional phrase in the forum. Candidatos, accusative direct object, second declension plural. Candidates, spectant, are watching, present tense third person plural verb. Note also, so altogether, it's the citizens are watching the candidates in the forum. Also, candidate comes from adjective candida, and we get incandescence or candle from this, and it's because they wore bright white tunics. So candida means sort of bright or illuminated. So citizens are watching candidates in the forum. Agricolae clamant nos candidatum optimum habemus. So this is agricolae is not a dative singular, but it is a nominative plural first declension. So the farmers, clamant, main verb, shout, present tense. Nos, so nominative subject. Candidatum, accusative direct object. Optimum, accusative adjective with candidatum. Habemus, main verb, present tense. So we have the best candidate. All right, and then he says below that, candidatus noster est Lucius, nos Lucio favemus. And with favemus, we get our first impersonal verb that goes the dative. So candidatus is nominative subject. Noster is it's a possessive. So it's a possessive pronoun and it means our. So if anyone knows Notre Dame, it means Our Lady, and it comes from noster in Latin. The S is dropped out if anyone wants to know why French words have a little caret over their vowels. It's called a circumflex accent, and it usually indicates that an S is dropped out because an S is a weak consonant. It's called a sibilant fricative, and S's often drop out of language. So noster goes to notre in French. So our candidate, est, main verb, Lucius, nominative, because est is a copulate. So our candidate is Lucius. Nos, nominative subject. Lucio, dative. Remember that Lucius goes to Lucio in the dative. Favemos, intransitive verb that takes a dative. So it is we have favor in or for Lucius, which we would translate as we favor Lucius. All right. Mercatores agricolis respondent. Nos candidatum optimum habemus. Nominative plural subject, third declension. Dative plural, indirect object. Respondent is the main verb, present third person plural. So the merchants to the farmers respond, or the merchants respond to the farmers. Nos candidatum optimum habemus. Nominative subject, accusative direct object, accusative adjective. It is a superlative adjective, by the way, and present tense verb. So we, the candidate, best have, or we have the best candidate. Candidatus noster est mercator, nos mercatore favemos. So nominative subject, personal pronoun, possessive pronoun, that's also nominative, main verb, predicate, nominative. So candidate, our, is a merchant. So our candidate is a merchant. Nos, nominative subject, plural. Mercatori, dative singular, dative interest. Favemos, main verb. Intransitive takes a dative object. So we to the merchant give favor. So we favor the merchant. Pistores in foro clamant nos candidatum optimum habemus. So the nominative subject, prepositional phrase, locatival appellative plus in, clamant, present tense verb. The bakers in the forum shout, or the bakers shout in the forum. Nominative subject, plural, personal pronoun. Accusative direct object, accusative adverb, superlative adjective, not adverb, pardon me. Habemos, main verb. So we, candidate, the best, we have the best candidate. All right. Candidatus noster est pistor. So nominative subject, possessive pronoun, main verb, and predicate nominative. Candidate, ours, is a baker, or in better English, our candidate is a baker. Nos pistore credimus, nominative subject, dative of indirect object, or well, dative of advantage, and credimus is a intransitive verb that takes a dative. So we, to the baker, give our trust, or we trust the baker. Okay. Juvenes pistoribus respondent. Nominative subject, third declension. This is a third declension dative plural. Main verb. So the youths to the bakers respond, or the youths respond to the baker. I also love how the youths are depicted as these burly, square and cleft-chinned, shirtless fellows. Nos juvenes candidatum optimum habemus. Nominative subject, juvenes is in apposition to nos. It is also another nominative plural, third declension. So it is we, and who is we? The youths, we the youths. Accusative direct object, superlative adjective modifying candidatum. Habemus, main verb. So we youths, candidate, the best, we youths have the best candidate. Candidatus noster est athleta. So nominative subject, possessive pronoun, main verb, predicate nominative. Candidate, ours, is an athlete, or our candidate is an athlete. Nominative, nos athletai credimus. Nominative subject, dative singular, of advantage. Intransitive verb taking a dative. So we to the athlete give trust, or we trust the athlete. Also notice one other thing, that athletai is first declension, but it's going to be masculine because it comes from a Greek word, and as we remember, the Greeks are more comfortable with words being feminine in form, but describing masculine objects, whereas the Romans are a little bit less comfortable with this. So if you had to put on the sliding scale of misogyny in the ancient world, they're all going to be doing pretty poorly by modern standards, but the Greeks come out a bit better than the Romans, only by a narrow margin. It's a bit of a race to the bottom in terms of ancient progressive thinking about equal opportunities among the genders. So, last one. Fores clamant nos quoque candidatum habemus. So, fores clamant. You have to love that the fores are described with this sort of scraggly, bearded bridge dweller right here. Because fores is third declension, it means thieves. So the thieves exclaim, present tense verb, nos quoque candidatum habemus. Nos, nominative subject, quoque is an adverb. It means also. Candidatum, accusative direct object, habemus, main verb. So we also, candidate, have. So we also have a candidate. Candidatus noster est fur. Not something that you would really want to put on a campaign slogan, but okay. Candidatus is a nominative subject. Noster is a possessive pronoun. Est is our main verb, and fur is our predicate nominative. So candidate R is a thief. Our candidate is a thief. Might be the most honest of all the candidates. So nos candidato nostro non credimus, sed. Sed, I think the bottom part of it is cut off. Sed favemos. We'll open this up a little bit so you guys can see that last word. Taking this off of main screen. Well, that'll be fine. I was going to make it not in presentation mode, but just note that the last word is favemos. F-A-V long E-M-U-S. So that means we, nominative subject, candidato nostro, these are two datives. Noster is following it's matching with candidato. And non is an adverb. Credimus is an intransitive verb. It's the first of two verbs, main verbs in this sentence. Sed is a conjunction, means but. And favemos is another intransitive verb, taking a dative. And it means we, to our candidate, do not give trust, but we do give favor. So in other words, we do not trust, but we do favor our candidate. As the old saying goes, there is at least hopefully honor among thieves. So this is how the sentences are going, and all the information that I just gave you is just as easily accessible. If we go to the next slide, from these. So these are what we're talking about in the last stage with these commentaries. They're both color coordinated, and they will give you the Latin. Notice the Latin with the color coded for what case it is, as well as the translation and the full dictionary entry. So remember I said cives comes from civis. You can see that right here. So that's super, super useful. Essentially everything that I just said on that last slide is visually accessible to you via these commentaries. So I really suggest that you study them and you get a sense of what the language is doing by being able to read what's going on. Also notice that this should be a little bit darker of an orange. I don't know if it's showing up as an orange. It looks kind of yellowy, but note that this is ablative. The whole prepositional phrase is put together in this block for you. All right, so each of these has a commentary that I'd like you guys to be able to look over. And if you have any questions on those, obviously let me know, but these are super, super useful for you. Also notice that when I said, for example, optimum is a superlative adjective, look over here at this entry, the dictionary entry for that. We see that's an irregular adjective. So it is bonus, bona, so it's a first or second declension in terms of its form. And its positive degree is bona. Melior is comparative, and superlative is optimus. So it's good, better, and best. We know that just as in English, it's irregular, so it's irregular in Latin. And then we look over here. We get noster, nostra, nostrum. This right here is this is the masculine, this is the feminine, and then this is the neuter forms of this. It's an odd word because something like puer, if you notice that puer follows, it looks like it should be a third declension, but it actually is following the declensional pattern of the second declension. So it's noster, but then it goes to, in the dative, nostro, right? So just know that even though it has an ER ending, like puer, which is pueri or puero, it won't actually be in the third declension. It'll follow the second declension rules. So that's a kind of tricky one. It's a little bit tricky, but not too bad. Let's see. Let's go over here. This is just basically how I said that you should rearrange it so that it doesn't sound awkward. Remember that we're aiming towards the most fluid translation in English, so we favor Lucius. Okay. There we go. This will give you more of that information. Also, as you're going through and doing your translations of these, remember that you might not remember Greco-Lis, whether that's ablative or dative. You can jump immediately to these translation slides. You can see, well, it's pinkish purple, so therefore it's dative. And then also it will be as part of this block. Notice that responded to the farmers. They'll say, it should be a dative indirect object, right? That makes sense. Cool. Go. Still more information. Notice that down here, Fawemos is one of those verbs that has different meanings, whether it takes dative or not. And we see that down here in the translation, the dictionary entry, we see Fawor with dative means to befriend, support, or back up. So we're going to have that definition right here. So that'll give you a sense. If you go into a dictionary, it'll have a much longer entry for Faweo. So, but just be aware of that as we kind of get you used to using your dictionaries. Go. Very good. And that's all the information we have there. And all that information. Cool. More information about Credeo. Right. Here's an example of a dictionary entry with Credeo. You can look at. And lastly, go all the way down here to, yes, candidato nostro. Remember how I said that it looks like a third declension, but it actually conjugates much like puer in the second declension? Nostro candidato. Very good. All right, guys. So that is the end of our model sentences. I suggest use the slides that are posted to our classroom. And if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we will jump in the next video into the first translation for the stage, which is Marcus et Quartus. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video.